This is the 30th year of it. Now, since they're celebrating 30 years here at Ross's Landing, we thought we'd take you back to the very first Riverbend. We're going back into the archives for that. Back in 1982, believe it or not, this was a risky concept.
The trick in that first year was convincing people to come downtown for a festival in the first place. In 1982, there was no aquarium or Coolidge Park. The Walnut Street Bridge was closed, and there were no restaurants downtown to speak of.
It really began to get exciting the day the banners went up downtown. People responded to that wonderfully. You know, it was a visible symbol that indeed there was to be a festival in Chattanooga and there was going to be a lot of excitement downtown.
Riverbend officials had to convince people to come down to the river, sit on the edge of a parking lot to watch music. So they brought in a U.S. senator to dedicate the new Coca-Cola stage barge.
This barge on behalf of a very successful Riverbend festival.
They brought in a military band to serenade the supporters. Launched balloons from the barge, all to convince people that this was a really big deal. Crystal was the first Riverbend sponsor. Do you remember the Crystal Critters? Jazz legend Count Basie made one of his last performances at that first Riverbend. The other acts were pop star Roberta Flack, gospel singer Andre Crouch, banjo player John Hartford, and the local group Overland.
You know, that very first Riverbend, it was actually held in August, but the heat, it finally eventually convinced the organizers maybe June is a better time instead. And over the years, the festival would grow into more acts and bigger crowds. I mean, we're seeing that here this year, definitely. But how did that first Riverbend go over? Let's check it out with reporter Pat Jarrett from 1982.
Not since the early days of Chattanooga have these banks seen such a bustle of activity. Riverbend Festival 82 brought residents back to celebrate their heritage. The sights and sounds of dockside entertainment had them coming back for more.
Well, music is one of those art forms that lets people communicate with each other. And it was a natural choice for the first year. It's an easy way to say to everybody, come on down, there's something for you.
There was something for everyone. Music for every ear, be it a fiddling competition, a jazz strut, a one-man act, or the U.S. Army Band. Everyone got into the beat. And granted, some a little bit more than others.
We're seeing crowds down here that represent every element of the community and represent young and old, people who are appreciating other people's kinds of music. When you take a major gospel singer and follow it with a bluegrass act, people start talking to each other.
And that's what Riverbend Festival was all about. Organizers are glowing with success, and most here would agree the week-long celebration ended on a high note.
And of course, we're back here live at Riverbend looking at the crowds in this day and age. Can you even imagine that at 82 it was a tough decision whether or not to start this festival? Folks are gearing up here at the Coca-Cola stage. Charlie Wilson taking it at 9:30, so we still got a couple of hours. But that's it, live from Riverbend. We'll be back in the studio in just a minute.